Hi, welcome to the KU Panhellenic 2020 Recruitment Parent Orientation. A few things that we're going to go over are just some introductions of our staff, of our community, and of the chapters that we have on this campus. Next, we will do a Panhellenic overview, a recruitment overview, what each day will look like, some information on how you can help as a family member or parent of a student going through our recruitment process, and then the way to contact us for any questions that you may have. First, I want to go over the staff members that work in the Sorority and Fraternity Life office at the University of Kansas. We have Sony Heath, who is our interim director. They also oversee our Multicultural Greek Council and our National Panhellenic Council. Next, we have Allison Schultz, who is the coordinator in our office and also the advisor to the Interfraternity Council. The next person is myself, Caitlin Gasfield. I'm the coordinator in the office and also the advisor to the Panhellenic Association. The next person that we have in our office is Kenzie Parsons. She's a graduate assistant in our office. We have 11 Panhellenic chapters on our campus. Here's the list of all of them. We have all of our groups are housed in off-campus properties. Typically, these properties have a live-in requirement in your second and potentially third year of your membership in your organization. The Panhellenic Association is advised and governed by the National Panhellenic Conference. It's an umbrella organization that oversees 26 national and international organizations. Here we have 11 of those 26 organizations. Panhellenic organization has a board of 12 women with individualized positions that help coordinate programs and provide resources to each of the Panhellenic chapters. Other individuals that your student may see, especially during the recruitment process, are their recruitment counselors, also known as ROCIs here on campus. They are current members of the Panhellenic community. They have had great experiences in the community so far, and they want to help your student find their place in our community. They are the around-the-clock resource for your student, and they can provide knowledge about the community and the recruitment process, as well as provide support. It is a very long week and there are a lot of decisions that get to be made. The recruitment counselor is there to kind of support and guide them through those decisions. This year, we have 91 recruitment counselors helping out our potential new members. I also want to highlight a few programs that are run through the Panhellenic Association. First is a requirement to take an 8-week course that KU offers. It's called LDST 301. It's on us, gender-based violence prevention. Panhellenic asks that all new members in their first year of membership take this 8-week course. We also have new member programming hosted by the Sorority and Fraternity Life office that will happen on the Sunday, August 22nd, after they go through recruitment. Another program that is facilitated by KU partners and the Panhellenic Association is our Care Sisters. It is a peer program that members of our Panhellenic community, as well as a few members of our Multicultural Greek Council participate in to support women, especially that have been survivors of sexual assault. Next, we're going to go into the recruitment overview. So fall formal recruitment is a process that allows women to get more familiar with KU and the Panhellenic community. It entails 6 days of a mutual selection process, which I will get into in a little bit. But it is the primary membership process for our Panhellenic community here at KU. This is the only time that all 11 organizations will be hosting their recruitment at the same time and taking about the same number of members. We also have an informal recruitment process that takes place afterwards, but not all of our chapters will participate in this. So this is the only time that your student can be guaranteed to see all of their options and visit all of the chapters and get to make their selection for membership. Now I'm going to break down each day, each round of the events and what your student will most likely see in those. So the first is our open house round. This will happen either on August 15th or 16th, depending on their individual schedule. This is a day that kind of gives you an idea of the Panhellenic community and of KU. The students are going to virtually attend an event for all 11 chapters. So we will be utilizing Zoom this year, and your students will log on and have a short 20-minute event with each of our chapters. Again, this is just a time to do some general get to know you. A lot of questions they will be asked are why you chose KU, what your major is, why you want to be a part of the Panhellenic community, and just a little get to know you questions. At the end of their day, the students will preference or select the chapters that they would like to go to in their next round of events. The next day, on the opposite 15th or 16th, they will attend P&M programming. These will be sessions of educational programming that are hosted by the Panhellenic Association board members. Some of the topics that they will see are KU sorority and fraternity life overview. I mentioned the 4 councils that are a part of our community, so there will be an overview of that and what our Panhellenic Association entails. And there will be a presentation on health and safety, talking a little bit about the social events that they might be seeing when they come into our chapters. And there will also be a conversation about diversity, equity, and inclusion. There will be a session on that as well. And then we will have KU Housing host a programming just about their process and a little orientation from housing. The next round is philanthropy, and that will take place August 17th and 18th. So your student could attend one or both of these days for their events. Your students will receive an individualized schedule with a maximum of 8 chapters. So you will see throughout the week that their event maximums will get smaller, which is part of that mutual selection process. An individualized schedule means that they will not be traveling with their recruitment groups. Each person will get a schedule unique to them, and they will go to the events that they are scheduled to attend on their personalized schedule. The day of philanthropy round is focused on each chapter's national philanthropy, which is a charitable organization that they raise money and awareness to support. This is one of the longest days of recruitment. As you see, this will take place around 2 days of recruitment, where most of them will just be 1. At the end of this day, again, they will preference at the very last event that they have through that mutual selection process. The next day, on August 19th, your student will attend Sisterhood Round. They will again receive their individualized schedule and attend a maximum of 5 chapters this day. The focus on this is on sisterhood and membership. It's typical for house tours to occur on this day. Like I had mentioned previously, all of our organizations have a chapter facility and usually have a live-in requirement. So they will show them what the rooms look like and what it is like to live inside of those facilities. On this day, they will also be handing out financial information for each of their organizations. It will break down the dues, what those go to, and how much that you can expect those to be each year, both for new members and then if they are living in or out of the house. At the end of this day, again, they will preference going into their last events. The last day of visiting chapters is August 20th. This is our preference round, and students will attend a maximum of 2 chapters. This is a unique and special ceremony at each chapter. Sometimes members will get emotional, and your student may also feel a deep connection to this day. And this is the final opportunity for individuals to see how well they fit in a chapter. So we really encourage our students to ask all the questions that they have, really take advantage of that last opportunity to kind of make those connections and see where they think that their fit is. This day, when they make their final preferences, this will happen with a member of the KU staff because they will have to sign a binding agreement that agrees that when they select their organization, they will accept a bid. We will go through this process with your student, but because this is such a big decision, staff members will help with this process. Here is that agreement that I had talked about earlier that your students will sign. This is a binding agreement. And so if your student receives a bid or an invitation to membership and declines that bid, they will be ineligible for until the next primary recruitment, which will happen next fall. And so it's really important for them to list organizations that they would be willing to accept a bid from at the end of the day. We encourage our students to maximize their options throughout this process, and especially on this last day. If your student attends events and puts them on this list, either one or two, depending on what their schedule looks like, and they list both or one of them, they will be guaranteed a bid. If a student attends 2 events and only lists one, there's not a guarantee that your student will receive a bid or invitation to membership at the end of this recruitment process. The students will then put their preferences in the order in which they would like to receive membership invitations, and we will go on to bid day. So this is the last day of the process. A bid day will start around 2 p.m. and our students will go into our Burge Union to open their bid cards and find out which chapter they are a member of. After this, they will go to each chapter facility as our chapters are hosting bid day celebrations starting at 3 p.m. Their schedules all look unique and different. They're all having their own events they have planned to celebrate the new members in their chapter. Some of terminology that I also want to go over that you may have not seen before is that mutual selection process. This allows the prospective members to narrow down their selections, and chapters will be doing the same on their end. And so they will go through each day, like I had mentioned, and list in order the organizations that they would like to attend, and chapters will do the same. The next is preferencing. So like I had mentioned earlier, each night after those events end, your student will preference the chapters that they attended that day. So they can only list organizations that they have seen that day. And again, we really encourage students to maximize their options through this process. In order to go through the process, all students will agree that they will attend all of the chapters on their invitation list. And again, we encourage them on that last day to maximize their options. And they do get to make that selection again, and because it is binding if they receive a bid, they do not have to maximize their options on the last day if they are unwilling to accept a bid from one of those chapters. The next things I want to go over are some good information to know, some good things to review with your students. And the first are our grade recommendations. There's no grade requirement to go through the Panhellenic recruitment process, but some chapters do have recommendations or requirements to receive a bid into their organization. Incoming KU students, new students, usually coming into their freshman year, will have a 3.1 cumulative high school GPA. Many of our chapters are looking for that either as a requirement or a recommendation. Each chapter makes selections differently, and so your student should have received some sort of notice if they were below a certain GPA that they may have limited options going through the recruitment process. Transfer students or students that are in their second or higher year of college with more than 24 credit hours, typically chapters will look for a GPA above a 2.7. All GPAs were verified through the recruitment registration process. Again, your student was most likely contacted if their GPA was below these ranges. The next things I want to go over are both the P&M Bill of Rights and the P&M Code of Conduct. So going through this process, we really want to emphasize that this is a process for your student to have the most options possible. And we want to make sure that they know that they have rights throughout this process. So some of those rights are being treated as an individual with the utmost respect, being fully informed about the recruitment process, have a positive, safe, and enriching recruitment and new member experience, have inviolable confidentiality when sharing information with recruitment counselors. They have the right to make a decision and accept full responsibility for the results of that decision. They have the right to ask questions and receive true and objective answers from recruitment counselors. They will be treated as capable and mature person without being patronized. They can make informed choices without undue pressure from active members or anyone else involved in the recruitment process. And they have the right to have a positive, safe, and enriching recruitment period. And so these things are really important, that your student feels like they have these rights, that these rights are being met. If at any point your student feels like their rights are not being upheld, we have a process that they can file a report with our Panhellenic Recruitment, and we will try to remedy that situation. In the same end, we also have a P&M code of conduct. So as the students come through this process, they agree to uphold these following things. All of your students will sign this contract. It was also listed on their registration. So P&Ms will not give any promises to join an organization before bids are distributed. They shall consult with their recruitment counselor before they want to withdraw from the recruitment process. They should report any violation of recruitment guidelines, again, or these Bill of Rights, to a recruitment counselor or member of the staff. The P&Ms shall accept the maximum number of invitations allowed. So that's why I talked about earlier that they have to attend all of those chapters that they receive an invitation from. And they will also avoid disparaging remarks about any chapters or any individuals in a sorority or not in a sorority. They can also facilitate friendly relations between KU Jayhawks, sorority and non-sorority alike. They need to also acknowledge that formal recruitment is not a competition, but it is an opportunity to build up women through mutual respect. They will prevent and stand against any negative publicity regarding the Greek community. They will not prejudge a chapter or influence another P&M to prejudge a chapter. We call that chapter chatting here, so you may hear that term come about. They agree to consider an organization carefully and fully with an open mind and be a positive representative of the KU Panhellenic community. They also agree that throughout the recruitment process and for 24 hours following bid day, that a P&M shall not consume or be in the presence of alcohol or other substances. All first year and transfer P&M shall participate in our Hawk Week events. We also ask that P&Ms do not drive to recruitment events. We have a busing system that will bring them to all of their events. And we also ask that they do not use their phone during the course of their recruitment day unless in an emergency situation or instructed to by their recruitment staff and during their preferencing. Our students will use an app to submit their preferences every night, and they will also have their schedule on there. So those are the times that we encourage them to use that. Again, there is no texting, phone calls, Snapchat, Facebook, any kind of messaging between any sorority member or a P&M throughout the recruitment process. The next thing I want to highlight are the financial obligations, and the dues and fees in both fraternities and sororities do vary greatly. The average in our housed chapters is about $8,400 when they are living inside their chapter facility. This image over here can be found in our recruitment guidebook, which all of your students have access to. It gives an estimate of the live-in costs, so when they're living in that chapter facility, as well as their new member fees. The next thing I want to cover are some ways that you can help your student through this process. The biggest thing is just to support your student to make their own decision. Some ways you can do that is to have conversations about finances and what your student may feel comfortable paying for their membership. Encourage them to ask questions about each organization and their requirements. Support your student to use their best judgment when making their decision and not base it off of friends, family members, or other outside sources. And lastly, remind them to rest, take care of themselves, and lean on their recruitment counselors for help during the week. We also want to encourage you to follow KU Panhellenic on our social media accounts for updates throughout the week. And we will be posting pictures and updates on each day of recruitment. And so you may see your student featured on our social media pages. If you have any questions from this presentation or throughout the recruitment process, I encourage you to contact our office at kusfl@ku.edu or to our office phone number at 785-864-0808. Thank you so much for attending, and we hope you have a great recruitment process with your student.